Choosing the right trucking company to work for is going to be the most important decision you make in your life as far as your career is concerned. Here's how to know how to find the right company to go to work for. You've got mega carriers, you've got middle-sized carriers, and you've got small carriers to choose from. So right away, let's eliminate the mega carriers, because the mega carriers are all about themselves. They're not about you. They're so busy taking money out of your pocket to satisfy the shareholders and the high dollar CEOs and the upper management, the sales staff and everybody else. You are the last guy on their list as far as priorities is concerned. So let's just skip the mega carriers right away. When you're starting out, if you're a new guy, you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes the mega carrier route is the only way to get your license, and you got to go that way. And that's okay. Lots of guys do that. But then there comes a time when you got to get the heck out of there and find a good company to work for. Medium-sized carriers generally have a pretty good pay package worked out. They know how to attract good drivers. They know the guys they want. They've got established procedures, established lanes, pretty good equipment. I always had my best luck working for a medium-sized carrier. Now, some of the really small carriers can also be really good. But you've got to be aware of a couple of issues there. And they bring you in, they want to treat you like family, and then when something goes wrong, it's a tragedy, and it can affect your paycheck. They'll want you to do things sometimes, like you'll come in and you'll be beaten, exhausted, and you'll need to go home or sleep or something. But somebody got sick and they need you to pull this load. You got to do it. They got nobody else. There's the key phrase. They've never got anybody else. They've got it planned down to a fine line, and you're the guy. So if you've got something going on at home and they've got a load that's got to go, guess which one's going to have to win out to satisfy them? And that's a problem. You can't just cut and run because you feel obligated to help these people, and that's part of the problem with a small carrier. And honestly too, sometimes you'll be tempted to bend the rules to try to help a small carrier out. Bend the rules when you shouldn't be bending the rules. You'll get yourself in trouble just because you were trying to be a nice guy to help them out. So, like I say, middle of the road, middle-sized carrier, I find that works the best. They've got the best of everything and the fewest problems. Let's be honest here. It's a harsh reality, but trucking is a business. And no matter what size the carrier is, the carrier's goal is to make money. Profit is his number one concern. It's not the driver. Now, depending on the company, the driver will fall somewhere below profit. But no trucking company survives on being friends with their drivers. Trucking companies survive on profits. So you've got to bear this in mind, and you've got to work with them, and you've got to realize that is their number one priority. Now, carriers will use phrases like driver friendly and stuff like this, as sometimes it's a selling tool, sometimes it's true, and sometimes it's not. So you've got to sort through this crap too. You can't be fooled by the companies that say, oh, they're driver friendly, and the one carrier that I think of the most is they put a swimming pool in their yard as part of their driver friendly program, and I laughed out loud. Like, number one, I don't want to be living in your yard so I can use the swimming pool. I want to go home. Number two, I want you to pay me enough that I can have my own swimming pool. So don't be sinking it into a pool over there when you could just pay me a little more and I could have my pool. That's not driver friendly. Having a beautiful driver's lounge is nice, but you don't want to be living at the yard. You want to be out making money or at home. So that's not driver friendly, in my opinion. Driver friendly, in my opinion, and medium carriers are the best at this, and that means paying you for everything you do, paying for all your time, having a good mileage rate. When you're sitting there sliding you something, when you're laid over they're sliding you something. They know that all your time is valuable. They're not trying to nickel and dime you like the big carriers, and they're not telling you they can't afford it like the small carriers. It's also a brutal truth in trucking that most trucking companies, and I say most trucking companies, try to cheat their drivers one way or the other. Usually it's a mileage scam. That's the most popular one. But be aware that not all carriers are like this, but most of them are. So You want an honest carrier. One of the first places to start looking when you're looking for an honest carrier is to look at their pay structure, look at their pay statements. They should be able to show you a pay statement from another driver. What you're really looking for is the pay structure. You want to see how many miles this guy got in a week, how he got paid for the miles, whether the miles were short. You want a PC miler printout with the mileage, with the pay statement too. There's something else you need to do. If you're going to be paid by the mile, this is the carrier's biggest trick. If you're going to be paid by the mile, you want to see the miles that they're saying that you did. And you want to keep track of them yourself so you can compare notes. So when you find an honest carrier has no problem providing you with a printed PC miler printout of the trip, exactly what you just did, where you just went, the area codes, the zip codes, everything. They'll print it out and show you the mileage that system produces. And it's not the shortest route or the automobile route. It's the practical PC miler truck route is what you want to see. You want to see whether you get paid for all your drops and all your pickups. Pay statements are one of the best indicators of finding an honest carrier. You need to find some of their guys to talk to. You want to find out how the drivers like it there. You want to find out how long the drivers have been there, whether they plan on staying. You want to find out their turnover, how many guys are left. You want to talk to the head dispatcher to be sure in your mind how this dispatch deal is going to work with this carrier. Is he going to force you out, or will he just go to the next guy on the list, or how do they work that? You want to talk to the driver manager, and face-to-face time with a boss is always a good thing. He gets to know you, you get to know him, you establish a rapport. Nothing wrong with that. You need to take a cruise through the shop, see how that's run, see how it's managed. Is it clean? Are there tools and grease all over the floor? The mechanics look like they haven't had a shower in a month. You want to check out the facility because that's an indication of how they keep their trucks and trailers. If their shop's a mess, chances are their trucks are a mess. So there's an indicator right there. But talk to people. Go to the truck stop. Pull guys off the fuel island. Just wander up and chat with them if they're working for a carrier that you're thinking about working for. And find out whether their experience has been a good one or not. Something else that's helpful, you may think at the time, oh, it's not a big deal, I've got to do a lot of commuting. But finding a carrier close to where you live, close to home, will work out for you in the long run, because after a while you'll get sick of driving 300 miles to work every day or every time after you're off. That's a long drive. So you want to try to find a good carrier, an honest carrier that's close to where you live, and that's entirely doable because there's hundreds of thousands of carriers out there. When I talk about finding an honest carrier, one of the things you've got to watch out for is their scams too. And leasing is a scam. Leasing only benefits the carrier. And look at this mess that they're into in California now, where all of a sudden California is going to make their lease operators be classified as employees. Do you know why the carriers are fighting that so hard? They've got ways of twisting the story and coming all up with different excuses and stuff. But the bottom line is, they don't want to be legally obligated to have to pay you like an employee. It's cheaper to have you as a lease operator. They're making better money. It's all about the money. So stay away from that lease operator deal. You want to be an employee or an owner operator or someplace that you make the most money and can maximize your dollar. Cost of living isn't going to go down anytime soon. Cost of living is always going to go up. And your wages have to go up accordingly. You've got to follow that curve. So you need to be moving ahead, progressing all the time, staying with an honest carrier and making sure that the rates are going up all the time because your cost of living is going up all the time. Something else that you need to establish, and you probably won't be able to establish it in a job interview when you're just signing on with a carrier, but it's something that you should be aware of. And everyone talks about driver-friendly companies, and they all like to say they're driver-friendly, they've got an open-door policy. But something that no driver should ever tolerate is being yelled at or screamed at. They need to speak to you with the utmost respect. And this is up to you. And if it happens once, you can warn them and be clear about it. and that you won't put up with it anymore. And if it happens, no matter where it comes from in the office, the dispatcher, the manager, or whoever, don't let them put you down. And if it happens the second time, that's your last day. That's all there is to it, because you won't allow that to happen, because that is a huge part of having a good carrier to work for. A good carrier, a well-managed company, the guys don't need to scream at their people. That's a sign right there that something's wrong. So time to be shopping right away if that happens. You got to bail out of there, because it'll only get worse. It'll never improve if they don't stop doing that after the second time. A good trucking company knows the value of its drivers and would not stoop to that. So they know how to treat their people. They know how important you are to their operation, to their success, to making money. So if you're getting that from a carrier, you're at the wrong carrier. At the end of the day, you want an honest carrier. You want a working partner, someone that's going to work with you and you can work with them. It's going to be a profitable relationship for both entities. And it'll be a valuable relationship. And if you're happy there, and if they treat you well, you'll stay for years. And it costs money to swap carriers all the time. So you don't want to be doing that a whole bunch. It'll happen once in a while. You'll have to change a few times. But you don't want to be jumping around. You want to find an honest carrier, treats you well, someplace you can work out the years, someplace hopefully with a pension and a benefit package. Those are the things to look for. It's all about the money at the end. And the best money comes from working with honest carriers. You'll want to go to work. And that's so important if you're putting in 70 hours plus a week. Finding a good trucking company to work for takes a ton of time and research. And we've got more tips on our website. Click the link below and help yourself find the right trucking company. Take care, keep the rubber side down. I'll see you on the back haul.